Try it right now. Run your fingertips along your own ribs. Nothing. No squirm, no giggle, no panic. Now imagine someone else doing the exact same thing. Suddenly your whole body wants to fold in half. Same fingers. Same ribs. Same pressure. Completely different reaction. That gap between the two is one of the strangest little secrets your brain is hiding from you. Because tickling isn't really about your skin. It's about prediction. And the real question isn't why tickling feels weird. It's why your own hands have been quietly banned from doing it. Here's the strange part. Your brain is constantly guessing what's about to happen to your body, a fraction of a second before it actually happens. When you reach for a cup, your brain has already predicted the weight, the temperature, the texture. When you scratch your arm, it has already predicted the sensation before your nails arrive. This prediction machine runs every second of your life, and you never notice it. Until you try to tickle yourself and watch it work in real time. The moment your fingers move toward your own ribs, your brain whispers a tiny forecast to the rest of you. Something like, small touch here, in about half a second, no big deal. By the time the touch actually lands, the sensation has already been labeled boring and quietly turned down. It's a bit like seeing the punchline of a joke written on a billboard before someone tells you the joke. The setup is still there, but the surprise is gone. Scientists have a name for the part of your brain doing this background work. It's called the cerebellum, tucked at the back of your skull like a small second brain. For a long time, it was treated as the boring motion control department. Now we know it's also a kind of in-house fortune teller for your own movements. Every time you move, it sends out a little prediction note to the rest of your brain saying, "Ignore this, it was me." That note is the reason you don't feel your own clothes all day, your own tongue inside your mouth, or your own hand brushing your own leg. If you felt every one of those touches at full volume, you'd never be able to focus on anything else. So your brain learned a beautiful trick. Turn down the signal from anything you caused yourself. Tickling just happens to be the most ridiculous demonstration of that trick. Now think about someone else's fingers heading for your ribs. Your cerebellum has no idea what they're about to do, and that's the whole problem. There's no prediction note, no advance warning, no "ignore this, it was me." The touch lands at full volume, untouched, undimmed, and your brain reacts like a smoke alarm. That's why a feather from a friend can wreck you, while the same feather in your own hand feels like absolutely nothing. Here's where it gets weirder. Researchers once tried to fool the brain with a clever little machine. People moved a lever with one hand, and the lever then tickled their other hand a moment later. When the tickle happened right away with no delay, people barely felt it. Their brain had predicted it perfectly. But when the scientists added a tiny delay, just a fraction of a second, the same touch suddenly felt ticklish again. The brain had expected the sensation now, but it arrived a heartbeat late. That mismatch was enough to break the prediction, and the ticklishness sneaked back in. You can almost picture your cerebellum shrugging and saying, "Wait, I didn't order that." That's the whole secret of tickling in one tiny experiment. A self-tickle is just a touch your brain saw coming. A real tickle is a touch your brain didn't. But that still leaves a bitter question hanging in the air. Why do we laugh when it happens? Why don't we just flinch, or freeze, or yell? Why does an unpredictable touch on your ribs make you make a noise that sounds, of all things, like joy? This is where tickling stops being about skin and starts being about other people. Not to something, you almost never tickle yourself for fun. You tickle siblings, partners, kids, friends, and the people you trust enough to grab your ribs without warning. It is one of the most intimate things humans casually do to each other, and we barely think about it. Some scientists think tickling is a very old, very physical kind of communication, a built-in game for bodies that share trust. The laugh, in this theory, isn't really laughter at a joke. It's a signal halfway between "stop" and "I'm safe with you" that bonds two nervous systems together. That's why being tickled by someone you love feels chaotic but okay, while the exact same touch from a stranger feels like a violation. Your brain isn't just reading the touch, it's reading the relationship around it. Here's a quick experiment you can run on yourself right now. Hold up your hand and pretend it belongs to someone else. Tell yourself out loud if you want that this hand is a stranger. Then go for your own ribs at full speed. Did anything change? Almost certainly not, and that's the punchline. You can fake the story, but you can't fake the prediction. Your cerebellum has been watching that hand your entire life. It knows the weight of it, the speed of it, the exact moment it will land. There is no pretending your way around a brain that has memorized you down to the millisecond. This is also why some people genuinely cannot be tickled at all. If your brain is unusually good at predicting incoming touch, or if you're in a tense, alert state, the tickle response can quietly switch off. It's not toughness. It's just a very confident prediction machine doing its job too well. And on the other end, some people are wildly, almost helplessly ticklish. Their brains seem to register even a hint of unpredictable touch as a high-priority surprise, and the body goes into full squirm mode. Neither version is broken. They're just different settings on the same ancient system, tuned by genes, mood, and how relaxed you happen to be in that moment. Quick pause. I'm curious about you specifically. When you tried to tickle yourself a minute ago, what actually happened? Did your ribs feel completely numb like you were poking a stranger? Or did you feel a tiny ghostly version of the sensation, like the volume was turned almost, but not quite, all the way down? Drop your answer in the comments, numb or ghost tickle. I read them and it tells me a lot about how your brain is wired. Then come back, because the next part is the part that actually surprises most people. Now zoom out for a second. Your brain is doing this prediction trick with everything, not just touch. When you talk, you don't really hear your own voice the way other people hear it. Your brain quietly mutes part of the sound because it predicted it, which is one reason your voice on a recording sounds like an imposter. When you blink, the world doesn't go dark in flashes, even though your eyes literally do. Your brain predicts the blink and edits the darkness out of your experience. When you walk, the whole room doesn't appear to bounce up and down with your steps. Your brain predicts the motion and holds the world steady for you. Tickling is just the rare moment when this hidden editor fails in a fun, embarrassing way. It's the one situation where you can actually feel the difference between the world and the world your brain decided to show you. Most of the time, you live entirely inside that edited version and you have no idea. The unedited version is louder, noisier, and far more overwhelming than you'd want to live in for long. Which means in a strange way your ticklish ribs are doing you a favor. They're a tiny demo of just how much filtering your brain is doing every second to keep your life feeling calm. There's one more layer worth sitting with. Tickling might also be one of the earliest ways your body learned the difference between you and not you. Babies sometimes giggle when they grab their own foot, then stare at it like it might belong to someone else. In those first months, the brain is still figuring out which body parts are theirs and which are just objects floating in space. Slowly, the prediction system learns, this foot, when I move it, I feel it, therefore, this foot is me. The line between self and world gets drawn, touch by touch, prediction by prediction. In that sense, the reason you can't tickle yourself isn't really a quirk at all. It's the leftover proof that your brain ever managed to figure out where you end and the rest of the world begins. So the next time someone goes for your ribs and you collapse into helpless laughter, remember what's actually happening. You're not just being tickled. You're watching your own brain admit, for one chaotic second, that something out there is genuinely not you. That little burst of laughter is your nervous system saying, I didn't see that coming, and somehow, I'm okay. And the next time you try to tickle yourself and nothing happens, smile a little. That nothing is the sound of a brain that knows you perfectly, predicting you in real time, keeping the volume turned down so you can get on with your day. If your brain just quietly blew your mind, do me a favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps tiny channels like this one survive the algorithm. Subscribe to Bodyquirk if you want more little explanations for the weird things your body has been doing your entire life without telling you. And tell me in the comments, what's the strangest reflex or sensation your body does that you've never understood? I'm building the next video around your answers, so don't be shy. Until then, keep noticing your own quirks. Your body is far stranger and far more clever than it lets on,